Thank you everyone for taking the time to come out this morning and invest in your future. This week is Career Week, and so we've had a series of career talks with different industries. And today, this morning, we're going to be focusing on careers in social work and social assistance. So we're going to go ahead and get started. But before we jump in, I just want to let everyone know that this is being recorded. And then when we are complete, everyone who is attending this session, your resumes will be sent to RAIN and River West Food Pantry for further review. And if you would like to reach out to them afterwards, you can email me at careers@cua.edu. And then just put in the subject line, Career Talks, Social Work, Social Assistance, and we'll make sure you're able to get in touch with this panelists today. So I just wanted to give a brief introduction of the guest speakers. First, Samantha Voster. Samantha Voster is from Freedom, Wisconsin. She has been the volunteer engagement manager at the River West Food Pantry since 2014, and she helped found the Mission Internship Program. She graduated from the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota in 2010 with a degree in Catholic Studies and Psychology. She has worked with various ministries, including Catholic Youth Expeditions, Indoor County, as well as evangelization and ministry with Lamp Catholic Ministries in the Bronx. And we also have Amy Andrades today from RAIN. Amy has worked for RAIN, Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network, for 6 years. She is the Human Resource Staffing Specialist, and in that picture there is her awesome dog, Flash. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we are going to go ahead and get into the questions here. So Amy, I'm going to go ahead and start you off here. Could you please share with us a little bit about your journey and why you chose to work in this industry?
Hi. Sorry, I was muted. Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? So that's a great question. So why I chose this industry and my journey with RAIN. I was in college when I first applied to RAIN. I went to Trinity University and also got my degree in human resources. And when I started, there weren't any positions in human resources, so I actually ended up going into the National Sexual Assault Hotline, which functions 24/7. And I started as a part-time staffer assisting survivors of sexual assault. From there, I then became a shift manager, a senior shift manager, and now I am in the Human Resources Department. I like its mission in helping survivors of sexual assault. It also assists visitors who are of Spanish speaking, and I am bilingual, so that also helps me assist my community and also communities in the minority population, which we don't always have access to organizations or places where we can get someone to talk to or get the resources that we need. So this is an organization that actually provides that.
Great, that's fantastic. That's wonderful. And I guess that kind of ties into, we have some students that are on that are from various majors and different backgrounds when it comes to social work. Some are actual social work majors, some are psychology, sociology majors. And so what advice would you give them when it comes to your experience with developing talent and recruitment about how to kind of navigate their career and the importance of securing internship, volunteer work, or any type of career development opportunity, especially during this time?
Yeah, so one of the things that RAIN provides is we do have volunteer opportunities. We have a lot of volunteers. We also have opportunities for federal work study students who are, we usually provide those services with the schools and connect with the schools in the process of federal work study students, because we do know that some schools do provide that. We also do have opportunities to work within RAIN. So even if you come in as a volunteer, you would have opportunities to work with our organization if there are positions that are open. We also do have internship opportunities, and anyone who's interested in internship because they're studying social work or anything that's affiliated with counseling, along anything that deals with assisting the communities, I would definitely encourage people to reach out to RAIN, because this would give you a little bit more of how to assist survivors, even children and minors, and how to help them when they are going through situations that they may be encountering need support with aligns with these fields. I would say one of the ways to secure an internship is getting concert process. Our volunteer work, I can also connect with that information and share that information with you, Rain, and see like who the folks can reach out to when they're interested in internships, volunteering. In regards to hiring and applying, if there are people from your department who are interested, you can just let me know who they are and if they applied, and I can go ahead and screen those resumes since I am the Human Resources Staffing Specialist for RAIN. For Federal Work Study students, we aren't partnered with a lot of schools, but in case that we do start partnering with some more schools, then I will definitely be in touch with your department and walk through that process. And once we're there, then I guess we'll be in communication with what that process will look like and who we will be hiring for Federal Work Study students if we're looking for those in different departments, because we do get a lot of internships and interns for different departments like communications, public policy, consultants, for the hotlines as well, and also for human resources.
Great. That's fantastic. And then as far as what advice that you have about securing internships and volunteer experience during this time?
Yeah, so luckily with even through COVID, we have been able to operate at our norm. We've just been transporting everyone to work from home. So we've had to keep our capacity. So we've been working as if we would be working in the office. So we've been able to actually bring in more interns than we would have if we were in the office. Our numbers have gone on in internships. And also for volunteers, we do have an amount of volunteers we want to bring in, or so in securing those opportunities would be to apply to our organization, and then from there we would basically get in touch with folks who are interested in those positions and walk you through those steps for those positions.
Great, wonderful. And so do you have any tips for best interviewing practices for our students that are on today?
Yes. Tips for interviewing, I would say, because our interview process is lengthy, one of the things that we do is that we go through resumes. Once we get the resumes and they qualify to the job that they're applying for, we then invite them for a hire view interview. The hire view interview is a virtual platform where people respond to a couple of questions via CAM. And then once that happens, we then go and invite them for a live session interview. Because of COVID, we're not doing an in-person interview, so we're doing them virtually with like anyone from the other departments and myself. Once that process happens, we then do, if we need to, a second round interview. There may be times there may be panel interviews. One of the things I would say is read the description of the job that you're applying for. Make sure that you're submitting all the requirement documents, because if you don't submit them, at times we do reach out, but it's important that you're submitting all those documents. So if it's asking for a cover letter, a resume, a writing sample, that you submit all three so your application is considered. If you only submit your resume and you don't submit a cover letter, it may be rejected because you did not submit all the required documents. And at times when you are applying and someone is screening those applications, they may think that you didn't take the job seriously to share all those required documents. So it's important just to read through the job description, what you're required to submit, make sure that that's the job that you are looking for that aligns with your career, because sometimes during those interviews, they may ask, how does this job align with your career goals, right? So it can be helpful just to know that, from that angle, why that job is what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Great, great. And then as far as certifications are concerned, oftentimes, with social work, social assistance, especially when we're looking at counseling, sometimes there are certain certifications that are required. And so what advice would you give to the student who may not have that certification at this point, but they would still like to gain experience while they're working towards it?
That's a wonderful question. So RAIN has two hotlines, which is a DOD, which is the Department of Defense Safe Helpline that assists military survivors and civilians. And then we have the National Sexual Assault Hotline that assists anyone who has been a victim of sexual assault. Both of these hotlines are for anyone who wants to assist survivors. It's an entry-level job, which means that you can be in school while you're working. So you don't necessarily need to have your degree at that point in time. So you can actually be in school while you're working at the same time.
That's great. That's great. And then for that student, let's say it's an MSW student that is able to, acquire that licensing, what advice would you give them as they look out at stepping out into their first, job with regards to social work?
If they decide to stay with RAIN, of course, most of the time, a lot of the people we have come from different fields of work. And at times they learn and they know all the references and resources we have. So at times they look for a different job that aligns with their career because they've already gained that experience. So of course, I think here would be what you think you know yourself best and what you think you want to take on. So if you want to stay with the organization, it's perfectly fine. There are other areas of growth. We do have management positions within RAIN. We also have different departments that you can work with. Because our service for the hotlines are anonymous, we don't always know or ever know who we're talking to unless someone discloses personal identifying information. And then we report it to CPS or any other department that needs to know about what's happening. However, because of social work, this is more of in the outfield and doing more things hands-on. There are people we have that stay with us working part-time and then they are working their actual normal job.
Nice. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. So my next question that I have for you, because we are currently facing, of course, the pandemic, and we know that it is not just a U.S. thing, that it's worldwide. And even social work and social assistance is a global market. Can you give me an example of how you think internship opportunities have been altered and the job market? And what are some ways students can go about securing experiential learning that is beneficial to this industry?
So like I mentioned earlier, we do provide internship opportunities. And one of the things with the pandemic we've learned is that we were able to bring in more interns during the pandemic than we were to when we were in the office. Okay. Because a lot of people couldn't commute to the office. So now we are giving more opportunities for internships now because most of our departments do have internships. So one way to secure that is to definitely apply and reach out if you're interested in an internship. And then from there, we'll walk you through those steps of what it will look like for that part of internships and where we would go from there. I can share all the information with you later on of who you can contact for information about internships and learn more about that process on how to apply for internships once they open up, because we do have, we go based on, I believe, by semester for internships. So that would probably be shared with you more in detail on what that process looks like. So sometimes we close those applications and then we reopen them again.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And then even if it is not with RAIN, as a professional who's kind of been in this industry for a while, over 5 years, can you share with us just some tips that you would have for our students with regards to experiential learning and the importance of it for their career?
I'm sorry, you cut off on the question. I didn't catch the question.
Sure, no problem. So I was asking for our students who, let's say they are looking at different opportunities within social work. Can you give me just advice from your own experience of over 5 years of what the importance is of securing this type of experiential learning, even if it's not with RAIN? How is it beneficial to social assistants in general if they're looking at a career in this?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So I would say that one of the things that you can gain from social work and a lot of the things that you would want to do is if it's meaningful to you, right? Is this something that just career goal for you and you want to assist people? Anywhere you go is going to be beneficial because you're doing something that's fulfilling, something that's helpful, and something that you like to do. With RAIN, I got the chance to assist survivors from all ends, from all ages, from all ethnicities, from all races, without even knowing who they are. And the one thing that I can tell you is that every time that I've gotten to talk to a survivor, I have been able to know that I've made a difference somewhere, somehow, without even knowing them. So I think wherever you go, you do great and amazing, because that's exactly, if that's something you want to do, then go for it.
Awesome. Awesome. And then I have one more question for you here. And that is, how do you foresee your industry's job market, especially RAIN, evolving as a result of COVID-19? So within the next couple years, how do you see it really changing?
That's a very good question. We've actually been talking about this, and one of the things that we might start seeing a lot different is most of our employees were asked to be in the office because pre-COVID, we weren't expecting anything like this. We thought that we would function best if we were just in the office. But we realized we brought new employees in, and we're hiring now, and we've brought a lot of new people in, and we've realized that we can still function remotely. And everything is still up and running. So one of the things that we might or foresee may be that we want to return back to the office, but we might have more opportunities for remote staff. More opportunities for giving our employees also the chance to work from home. So that means that, yes, you can come into maybe having like a hybrid type of forum at some point in time. Hasn't fully been structured, but this is probably what we're foreseeing. Foreseeing ourselves going back to office, but also having those remote opportunities as well.
Great. Great. That's fantastic. At this time, I want to go ahead and open up the floor for any students who have any questions for Amy. Any questions with regards to RAIN or with regards to the social work industry, your own personal career, ask away. This is your time.
Hi, thank you so much for coming and talking to us this morning. I was wondering if you'd give us an example of an interview question that you use and talk about why that question gets asked.
Yes, I can. Let me think of one, because we asked so many different questions in my end. I asked for different departments. One of the questions I can definitely say is, how does this position align with your career goals? That's one of our biggest questions because of the navigation of this role in RAIN, and RAIN is such a unique organization because it doesn't just assist survivors of sexual assault. You're also assisting people in the military. If you go for the Department of Defense Safe Helpline, you go for a National Sexual Assault Hotline, right? If you're coming from, let's say, someone who's in finance or business, and you have no affiliation with like how to assist survivors or how to, anything with crisis intervention models, then it makes it kind of challenging to understand why you would want to go in this field. But there are people who are just generally empathetic. They would just want to help, right? So it kind of just like, that question is always a question that we may ask. It comes up a lot when we're interviewing because we just want to get to know, in sense, a little bit more of like, how does our job or this job description align with your career goals? Like, what are you trying to get out of this, right? And we've gotten really good responses. And we, like I said before, we have a lot of people from different fields working with us at RAIN.
Wonderful. Sorry. Do we have any other questions?
I have a question. So I actually think that I found it interesting that Rain was going to be like speaking with Catholic University of America students. I don't know if it's specific to the social work field. It seemed like it from my understanding, but anyway, I found it interesting because I actually had an interview with Rain, and because my background is social work, a lot of the questions that they were asking me in the interactive space of the interview process, I answered them as I would as a social worker, but I was being told like, oh, don't think about answering these questions as a social worker. So that was really hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to know, like, how do y'all really use or utilize social workers in this space with Rain? Like, how do you all do that?
That's a very good question, and thank you so much for sharing that. That's very good to ask that. So if I can speak for the hotlines. If you apply for a different department, I'm not sure what questions you were asked, but for the hotlines, I do know that the questions that we normally ask are for entry-level positions. So the questions are more just general questions to just gain knowledge of like where you're coming from, why you're interested in this job, right? And then going into like mock chats to assess empathy levels and how you will respond to a survivor. One of the reasons we ask that is because anyone who comes from like a social work field or counseling, or anyone who comes from like the aspect of helping, has that crisis intervention, has that mindset of how to assist someone who is in crisis, regardless if they have been sexually assaulted or if they are going through a crisis situation. You have already that mindset of how you would respond. So one of the things that we have noticed is that a lot of the folks that we have on our hotlines do come with a background in social work or counseling, or are there because they just want to gain experience on how to assist someone who is in crisis. And from there, once they've learned and they've gotten some experience, they go on into finding their career jobs because they've already gained some experience at that level of what they were looking for.
Yeah, and just to kind of to add to that, when you are matriculating within your career, as an undergraduate student, you do need to gain internship experience, experiential learning as it pertains to your field. You need to be a holistic candidate, especially when you are looking at competing in today's global market. With that being said, no one is going to hire an individual who does not have any internship experience, even closely related to the field. And so you are looking to kind of put your eggs in different baskets so that when you go to that employer that you are trying to be hired with, you do have your licensing, you have this profile behind you that kind of speaks towards all of the different ways you can relate to their organization, all of the initiatives that you can bring to the table with regards to charting and working with private social work firms, such as some of these foster care systems and things like that. They want to know that you have previous experience, that empathy, that caring aspect. You're building both behavioral and technical skills. And so the more internships and experiential learning opportunities that you can gain with regards to the holistic view of your industry, that's going to help build your resume. It can't hurt it moving forward. Do we have any other questions? I think I see one here from Cara. She said, hello, my question is, what makes a candidate stand out from others with the same qualifications?
Sorry, my computer was acting crazy a little bit. So that's a very good question. So what would make a candidate stand out from others who have the same qualifications? I would say I would sense that more in the interview phase when we get to know the candidates that we are bringing on. The reason being is because we learn more from the candidates when we talk to them verbally versus reading them on a resume. So I would say what would make a candidate more qualified than others would be the responses that they provide during their interview, how passionate they are about the work that they want to do. A lot of the people we get are passionate, but they can't tell us why. So explaining why you're so passionate about this field, right? So that makes a candidate more unique, because they're able to express more of their qualifications and why they're a good fit for that job, when they can explain why they're a good fit and why we should hire them.
That's great. Thanks so much. Do we have any more questions at this time? Okay. If not, I don't believe Sam was able to make it on. She ended up having a serious family thing that she had to take care of. But with that being said, I do want to thank Amy for her time today, and for her time to speak with you guys with regards to your industry and trying to secure different opportunities and what RAIN has to offer. Moving forward, if you have not already registered for the career fair coming up and you are a graduating senior with social work, please do so. I have seen a number of actual social work positions come through from some of the organizations. If you have registered already, please check your email. I sent an email out earlier this week with some of the job advertisements in it, and I did see some of the social work jobs posted in there. Also, make sure you check Handshake for RAIN, as well as any of those other job and internship positions, as they are posting them. If it is not in the advertisement promo flyer zip drive for the career fair, check the organization's actual Handshake page to see if there's a job there, and make sure that you're applying and making LinkedIn connections with some of these recruiters prior to the fair. It'll only build up your repertoire with these organizations. It'll only make you stronger as a candidate. And then moving forward, it builds your network. So you never know how things are connected and how it may work out later on. I was saying in the last career panel discussion that I'm currently working on my doctorate, and from my undergrad years and my first job working part-time, her husband is actually my site supervisor now at a very prestigious nonprofit organization for HBCUs. So it's very interesting. You never know how things come back around. I did not know that would be the case. So as you build your network, this is an example of how you want to make sure that, you are putting out a good personal brand out there. And as you network with these employers at the career fair, I hope that you're able to build connections and that you're able to land the opportunities that you're looking for. Again, if you would like to connect with Amy, or if you would even like to connect with Sam, even though she wasn't able to make it because of her situation, please let me know, and I'll be able to reach out to them on your behalf. Just email careers@cua.edu. Again, thank you for coming, and we look forward to hosting you at the career fair.